stop for a moment. Are you tired of losing again and again and again and degrading your elo, ending up mad about your games and thinking, am I too stupid for this game? Well, maybe, but so was I, and so I started a series where I play 100 games of chess, and currently I am at 1685. And in the series, which you can watch if you want, I made some big progress in learning how to learn chess, and I want to share that with you. But you might think, why should you listen to a 1600 instead of a grandmaster? Well, let me tell you, my brain is still working kind of like yours if you're around my elo, and some of the obvious moves the grandmasters see are just not possible to see with our brain. And if you're above my elo, like 2000, maybe your brain is already big. But overall I think I'm just a bit closer to 800 elo, which is why I can tell you a little bit better how to win against 1400 and 1200, because I have just been there. First off, we start with puzzles. I know, nothing new, but we do them differently. You don't spam them. Many of you can't even do that because you need premium on chess.com to have unlimited puzzles. The point is, you don't learn fast enough when these puzzles are in your short-term memory. When you finish the puzzle, generalize the solution. I want you to call out what happened. Was it an overload, a removal of a defender? What checkmate pattern is there? Let me give you an example. In this puzzle there is a checkmate, but the first thing I want you to see is the king and how he is surrounded by the knights, and the line the rook would take away from the king if it comes to the back rank. After this you will fast see that there's another check, but the big thing I want you to notice is the 2x2 square in the middle that the two knights generate by being so close to each other. That's just like an overall rule that if two knights are close to each other, they often generate some blocks that are defended. And yes, the puzzle ends with the king being blocked in, but the big thing of this puzzle is how two knights coordinate with each other. Let me give you some patterns how to counter a knight. In this position you instantly lose if you put your king on c2. So, how can you make sure you're not blundering this? Well, let me show you. There are some safe squares where you can put your king that you will never be checked by the knight, and they are always the same. First thing you should monitor is that the knight can always check you from two different squares. From every square where you can be checked, there's always two different kinds of checks. Maybe remember that for your next attack with the knight. But now let me show you the squares where the knight never can give you a check. The first one is directly to the sides of the knight, not diagonally, the sides. There's never a check for the knight. Another square that is safe is two diagonal squares away from a knight. Same principle here, there are just no checks that the knight can give you. And the third square that I want you to remember is the third square away from the knight. Up, down, left, right, but not diagonally. And if you remember these three types of squares that are safe, you will never have to think where you have to move your king. You will always instantly be sure. And if you want to really harass a knight in an endgame, just put your bishop 3 squares away from the knight and it is stuck. Like really stuck. Let me give you another more simple example in this puzzle. When you calculate this puzzle, you will quickly see that this is a queen's checkmate, where you put the queen on top of the king. But I want you to not just calculate it and then finish it, I want you to really remember this puzzle. You want to train your brain into always seeing that the queen on top of the king is checkmate. Of course only if she doesn't get taken. And you're supposed to do this with every puzzle, so your brain gets trained with the different patterns that exist in chess. I won't give you an opening course here, I will tell you how you can improve your opening, no matter what opening you are playing. The way you improve your openings is again by generalizing the problems you faced. For example, I play the Indian or Perk defense, they are quite similar, and in the match you're currently seeing I was faced with h4. And I have never seen this before, which is why I handled it very badly. I didn't know what to play and I quickly got into a losing position. And I didn't clearly see why this happened. So I analyzed it to find the general problem with my opening and this attack. And I quickly saw that I can't let the pawn get out of the way from the opponent's rook. I have to stop him from getting an open line. So I did not learn all the moves, I just memorized this pattern that this rook is dangerous. A few matches later I was again faced with h4, and this time I stopped h5 to prevent the pawn from getting away. And from my analysis I knew that g4 was never a problem. And I even won the match, so it kinda quickly works. This learning technique gives you an instant unfair advantage in pattern recognition, because your brain will automatically spot these setups in real games. If you've made it this far, you're a real big brain. And tell me in the comments how you've been learning chess since now.